I wanted to share with you today the Douglas Fir Oxymel I made from the plants I foraged from the mountains near my home. Growing up, my family often used herbs and natural medicines to support the body in ailments that came up. It wasn't until the past couple years I decided to begin to learn how to forage and create those medicines myself from local herbs and plant allies. I am in no way claiming that these plants or recipes can heal or fix anything. I'm still very new in this process and have a lot to learn. I choose to share this process to encourage myself and others to take the time to understand the local medicines and plant allies that are freely available from the earth. To encourage us to take the time to cultivate a relationship with these medicines and plant allies, as well as our own bodies and Mother Earth. Before I begin harvesting plants, I try to take a moment to be still with the plant I want to forage and ground into the earth. I always love to leave an offering for the land that I visit and forage from, such as tobacco or tea leaves. As humans, we take so much from the earth without giving back, so making a conscious effort to give something each time we take allows us to be more mindful of the times we do choose to receive. When we forage, it is important to only take what we need, leaving some left for nature, animals, and other humans. And rather than foraging from just one plant or one spot, to be mindful to forage from several plants throughout a larger area. Always leave the land better off than it was than when you got there. I harvested these baby Douglas fir tips in the early summer when the mountains were still thawing from the winter. From what I've read, fir is medicinal during every season, but it is the sweetest when young. I gathered just enough tips to fill a quart-sized mason jar. To make the Oxymel, I filled a clean mason jar full of the fir tips. I covered the fir tips with half raw local honey and half raw apple cider vinegar, filling the jar to the top. I stirred the contents together and topped the jar off as full as I could to leave no room for air. If you are using a metal lid, be sure to put a sheet of parchment paper in between the Oxymel and the lid before you close it. Once it's sealed, shake it up really good and then write a label for it, writing down the date and what's inside. At this point, you just let it sit for 2 to 4 weeks until you are ready to strain it. After the Oxymel sat for a few weeks, I strained it with a fine strainer and poured it into glass tincture jars. I labeled the jar with the contents and the date the Oxymel was made. You can take the Oxymel on its own as is, like a tincture, or you can mix it into juice or soda water. My favorite way is to mix a few dropperfuls into my homemade kombucha. Fir is high in vitamin C and is supportive of the immune system during the cold winter months. This Oxymel may also support during times of stress and anxiety by uplifting the mood, and it may help with upset stomach, among many other benefits. I love to work with this Fir Oxymel in the winter when I'm more prone to seasonal depression. The fir tree reminds me that I too can be resilient and make it through the seasons and changes of life. I think it's beautiful that I harvested these fir tips near the summer solstice and now I have them during the darker days near the winter solstice to support me physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you resonate or have any foraging suggestions you would like to share, you can leave a message in the comments. Sending you so much love during this winter season.